Hello. Welcome to the Daydreamers Club.
Welcome back to the Daydreamers Club. I'm Addie.
And I'm Winter. Today we are going to be talking about relationship tips that we have
Yes.
learned from our own
Mistakes. Past. Previous versions of ourselves.
I know, you can't imagine, but we've made a lot.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
So right now I'm in a relationship where me and my boyfriend live together. So I'm going to be talking a little more from that perspective.
Yeah, and I'm going to be talking from a long distance relationship perspective since Christian and I have been together for 2 years and 4 monps. And so we have been doing long distance for a little while now. Do you want to start off?
And you've been doing an excellent job at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would say the number one thing that I have found to be the most important in any relationship, romantic or otherwise, is focusing on your own personal growth. Because when you do, it's so much easier to be self-aware, to recognize, when something might be a trigger for you, why something makes you feel a certain way, and if you're wrong, or how you're hurting someone else because of your own issues, And I have learned so much. Like in the past, I was extra super crazy, and I thought that I had to do crazy things to make my point and be heard, because that's what I'd seen in my younger years with my parents. But then I learned from this relationship with my boyfriend Mango that no, you don't have to be crazy. You can just talk like a human.
Right.
And now he's given me, and he was so patient with me through that, which I appreciate, because I think patience is so important in relationships for both ends.
Absolutely.
And he was patient enough and gave me the room to grow and to heal from that really not okay way of thinking that I had.
Yeah, he is super mature. He is the most down-to-earth, mature person.
Yeah. Yes.
It's awesome.
Sometimes I feel like he's more my mom than my boyfriend.
He's going to hear you say that.
I know. But he knows, I think, that sometimes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would definitely ditto you on that, because I think when you know yourself and what's going on with yourself, every other relationship is like a cakewalk if your relationship with yourself is good. Because definitely for me, like in the past when I've just been in different states of mind, just, not feeling as good in life and very self-sabotaging and sad and stuff like that, obviously you're not going to attract somebody that is going to be the person you probably want to end up with unless you decide to stay that way forever. And that's what it was for me. Is after I actually met Christian, my boyfriend now, we didn't start dating for like 9 or 10 months or so. And so I actually chose to take that time and be single. I made that choice and date myself, give myself the love that I needed, because I honestly felt like I was not prepared as a person, like as a woman, to have and accept a relationship that I wanted to be in long term. Wow. And that's why all my relationships were so short and turbulent, and I was never committed, was because I didn't trust men. And so I needed to work on that and just had things to grow through that I was like, okay, I just need to take a step back. I need to work on myself to become the person that I want to attract, because right now I would not want to attract myself.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
a smart thing. Would you want to date you? Ask that question.
Exactly. Would you want to date you? And at the time I didn't. So, wow. And I'm still working on it. So just be honest. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're super dateable.
Thanks. You too.
Oh, gosh, girl, thanks.
Now after all this work, I mean,
exactly.
So much work to, and I mean, so much work to do. I actually feel like I have a ton of work to do still, before I get married and just different things like that. And, we can always make another one on that, but
Well, again, I think it's all about, like we say, the growth mindset. So there's always going
yeah,
to be work to do, but as long as both people are growth oriented and
yes,
motivated, like then we're always open to change and to understanding and to progress and to healing
yeah,
and all the good things that relationships can offer. Because I think that's the
yes,
biggest thing is that relationships are like the best learning place,
absolutely.
And like, I don't know about you, but I've learned a lot.
Oh my gosh, my boyfriend has helped me through so much. And yeah, just one thing I think that you said that reminded me of this is just when you're looking for someone to date or just looking to marry somebody, I think there's a few things that are really, really super important. Like I was telling you earlier today, my number one boundary is if I'm dating a guy and he does not fully support like my vision for my life and just the things that I want to do and is negative or not believing or limiting, there's no way I'm going to stay with him. Like there's no way that you should ever let anyone come between you and what you want out of life, because ultimately whoever you marry has so much effect on your life. I mean, that becomes like your number one association. So like their spirituality, their how much money they want to make, even like their vision for their life and impact for other people, how many kids you want, how you want to discipline them, like sex,
Yeah,
all of that,
that's a big
your
one.
political beliefs, all of that.
Everything. I think everything. Like you kind of mush,
Yeah.
like sure you keep your own individuality and that's so important, but I've noticed like a lot of things because you're always talking to that person, they're like your second brain in a way.
Yeah,
Kind
absolutely.
of they're very influential and
Yes.
your perspectives tend to grow together. So you want to make sure there's somebody whose judgment and perception you respect and appreciate and
Yeah.
want that input in your life.
Right. And that they're committed to personally growing,
Yes.
and on that journey too.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
I agree
You
with
want to
that
share some tips
totally.
with the people?
I would say, well, just like you say with the dreams, I really thought that supporting each other is super important. Like even with little
Yes.
things, like if I tell Mango, oh, I want to do yoga every day, then he'll wake
Mhm.
up and he'll do it with me or remind me, oh, don't you want to do yoga today? Maybe you should do yoga if I'm not doing anything.
Oh, I love
And
that.
it's not like I think it's unhealthy, obviously, if you tell somebody, oh, I want to be on a diet, and then when you go to eat a brownie, they remind you.
Right.
That's not cool. Like you
But that's
shouldn't
not what he's
take
doing.
that out on people. No, exactly. No, I'm just saying you should. I don't get mad at him for being saying, oh, don't you want to do yoga? Because how do I say this? I think sometimes, at least for me, I would get upset because I felt like I was failing and then he
Mm.
was reminding me of it, but it's actually him trying to help me grow. And I think it's
Yes.
always important to look at the other person's perspective and see why they're saying what they're saying and where they're coming from and why it's making you feel a certain way, because
Right.
most of the time the other person has intentions that are different than what you might perceive.
Right. And I think it is important to be with somebody that you can be totally authentic and honest with. And that's something that Christian and I really, really value is just speaking authentically. And so having somebody that you can be honest with
Oh,
without
so
them
true.
getting too offended is
Yeah.
really important, which can be super hard. And we're really imperfect at that.
Yeah. I mean,
But
girls.
we're growing together with that. And it's something where, ultimately you want to be able to be with somebody that's like, okay, well, maybe you're being a little bit too into yourself there, or not as good, or not giving yourself enough credit here, or just like different stuff like that where you can kind of help them with their perception, and iron sharpens iron.
That is so true. Iron does sharpen iron. I think that's a big thing in any relationship is you should always be trying to sharpen each other, just
Yes.
regardless of the romance or whatever. Just always be trying to build, like you and I
Yes.
build each other up all the time. And we always have deep conversations to encourage and help each other think and all of those things. And I think that's what we should
Right.
honestly be pursuing. And really any input we have into our life, we
Yes.
really want to think about that. What is this doing for me? What is this
Mhm.
making me feel or think, or how is this affecting me? And I think that's one of the more important things, is to think, is this sharpening me?
Right. It's very important to filter your input, and our society does not teach that at all. They don't teach to really, really think about like, oh, that person I follow, how is that making me feel? Or this person that's in my family, how do they make me feel? Like, it's so important to be around positive people.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I have a whole story on that later. But so yeah, being in a long distance relationship, I think we both have had to learn how to speak each other's love languages over long distance.
Which is amazing.
And
that's
thank
communication
you.
right there.
Yes, we definitely tell each other what we need. And Christian is just the most loyal and patient and forgiving person ever. And so I'm very, very lucky to have that. And one thing that I've had to like figure out with his love language is physical touch, because being long distance, you can't really do much.
Hard.
And so
I don't even.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really
so
tough.
I'll like hug him through the phone, or I'll like lay
Kiss
down
me
with
through the
him, or give him
phone, kiss me
kisses,
through the
stuff like that.
phone. That's cute.
Yeah. And then both of us love quality time. So we will just like, we'll have time together where we have like deep conversations, stuff like that, but we'll also just have a lot of hanging out time. And I feel like you shouldn't put pressure on the time that you do have. Like, whatever it is okay. You don't have to be like too funny or like too serious or too anything. You just need to have it be what you need it to be that day, and not put the pressure on it. Like, I used to totally do that. And just, have fun together. Like, we have dance parties, and we have date night. And he's so sweet to learn how to speak my love language, which is words of affirmation. So he always gives me compliments on date night and stuff like that. So we're very different in like who we are as people, but we really want to have each other in our lives. And so we make it work, and we figure out what that person needs, and like, go out of our way to do that.
Yeah, I love that you guys do that. And I almost feel like maybe a lot of people hate on long distance relationships because they are so hard. And I admire you
it's torture,
so much for doing that. I think the one cool thing is they can kind of keep things fresh, because when you see each other, you get excited, you look forward to those times. Whereas me and my boyfriend live together, so you kind of get really used to each other, so used to each other. It's like,
sure,
you almost just don't think about making a special date night anymore, or doing the things that you might have done when you first started dating, and it loses its pizzazz maybe. So I think you have to kind of sometimes go out of your way to make things fun, and make sure you're helping the other person feel loved and expressing that, and thinking about how important they are to you and all of those things. Because I've definitely gone through phases where I don't express my gratitude to him and for our relationship as much as I know he needs me to. And I think it's really important to go out of your way. And we definitely now are a lot better at that than we were when we probably like a little bit ago were.
Yeah.
But yeah, like now we have random dance parties too all the time.
I love it.
And,
yes.
We do pretty much everything together. Like, I sometimes feel like we're attached. We're not even codependent or anything.
No, not at all.
You're just always with that person. Especially during quarantine, they're the only person there. So
right.
You just kind of, I don't know. I think it's really important, I guess, to make sure that even when you're together and you might feel so comfortable with each other's presence, that you still take the time to appreciate how special it is to have each other and to have found the person that you love, and to express to them how important and wonderful they are to you.
Yes, definitely. I completely relate to that. And I think like even with long distance, things can definitely kind of get stale. So I'm always like the hopeless romantic type person. So I'm always afraid of that. But one thing that Christian and I do together is we love to keep learning things together. So we read and we do lists of questions. And I just love that. I love kind of, digging deep and doing stuff like that together. And I think being like that, especially in the beginning of your relationship, was, I feel like, something that I did right. Was I I went over those like important questions to me in the beginning because I didn't want to waste time. And especially if you're going to be in a long distance relationship, you need to be committed and you need to make sure it's worth it, because I hope it doesn't sound totally peachy to be in a long distance relationship, because it's actually really not. Like, I cry a lot and stuff, and that's just the reality of it. Yeah, but ultimately it's, to be together, and you need to make sure that you're talking about the future and that you have a plan of being together and that you're on the same page about that. And if you're not, you need to, talk about that and make sure that you get on the same page. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my main points on it. And I think that ultimately when you meet the right person, they're just your total best friend. And I know it's cheesy, but like when you know, like you just,
so you really
it just clicks so
because
well.
when you guys met, you knew immediately, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying everybody
him,
knows immediately, because that's actually something else I wanted to talk about. When Mango and I first met, the night we met literally came out of a movie. I swear, like, I never imagined that that kind of connection I would be able to ever experience. I thought
that's how I felt too when I met Christian.
Into an alternate dimension where my life was a movie. That's literally what I still feel like that to this day. I'm like, how is this real? And I spent so long with boys, really, not even men. I mean, some men, but whatever. People who just weren't willing to put in the effort that I realized could be put into a relationship.
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And people who care, and a man who really, really, like, really values you and wants you will put in so much effort for you. They will treat you amazingly because they know what they want. And if somebody isn't giving you what you think that you need in a relationship, then don't even waste your time, because
don't waste your time.
And it will happen. And again, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like, sure, that first night we met was amazing, but it's not always like that for everybody. Sometimes they're best friends first, like my parents were, and they're still together 27 years later. But for us, it was like that. And I knew right away, I was like, wow, I could fall in love with this person. But I didn't fall in love with him right then. He says he fell in love with me, but definitely through our relationship, it has been something that's grown. And you keep loving that person more and more. And there might be phases where you have a hard time, and that's okay, because we're human.
Yeah.
But actually, love isn't something that's just boom, those butterflies you feel in your stomach. Love is this feeling that you feel so much deeper than that, and it doesn't just poof happen. It's something that you really, really work for. And I think so too. Have invested that into our relationship, and so we've seen, even just the short time we've been together, there's people that have been married so long and have worked, and they say, like, wow, it just keeps getting better the more work you put in, the more hard stuff. And I can't even imagine how great it's going to be after that amount of time, because I see just this amount of time I've worked so hard to be in this loving relationship, and I've already feel so fulfilled and full of joy because of it. That
I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped for you.
I'm happy for you too.
Yeah, and I would say just the last thing I'd tack on is that you want to find a man who raises the bar of what you think is available, because that's what happened for me, and I know that's available for every single woman. And I think it really starts with a seed in your heart, just knowing that you deserve more and that you can have a best friend relationship, that you can have everything you want in a relationship. That's what it started for me. It was like this little tiny thought that I was like, I didn't even think it was possible, but I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And then when I met Christian, he just totally like raised the bar of what I even knew was available and knew that I could have. And so just always keep believing, in more keep believing in yourself and keep believing in having more. And if you're in a relationship and you are married, like, keep improving it and just keep sowing those seeds to make it better and better.
Yes. And I also think, honestly, the time when I met my boyfriend, it was a time when I had decided I wasn't going to be in a relationship anymore. I just decided I don't need a relationship. I can be single for the rest of my life. I'm very happy. And I was so dedicated to my personal growth. And I think that's how
I love that.
that right person into your life.
Yeah, it's when you're not
because-
expecting it.
And it's when you're content with yourself, because that's the most
Yes.
important thing, is to not need somebody else. You don't need a relationship. You don't need
Yes.
that to fill you up. You are fulfilled within yourself. You're fulfilled with your life on your own. And then somebody else comes along and just makes it that much better. But
Right,
you
they
don't
add to
need
it.
them. Yeah, exactly. And that make sure that person isn't obviously so codependent on you either, that you're both very individually happy.
Yes. Yeah, I used to be in codependent type relationships, and I was always like the fixer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and because I always believe in people and what I see in them.
What's
But
that
what
about you?
yeah, I mean, it's good in a healthy way, but
Exactly.
I learned that you do absolutely have to work on yourself and become your own best friend and really give yourself the love that you need, because women, we cannot expect men to constantly be saying the right thing, doing the right thing, stuff like that. Like, you have to fill up your love tank as well, so that way then when they give to you, it's not like pouring in an empty cup and you're like, oh, that was good, but I need so much more. It's like, no, when they give to you, your cup overflows because it's already full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
those
so
are some
true.
beautiful tips, Winter. I love it.
Oh, I love your tips too. We learn so much from each other.
We do.
And I hope
Anything
that
else you want to share?
No, I was just going to say, I hope anybody else who's listening has learned something too, or maybe they have something they'd like to share, and I'd love to hear
Yes,
it. They can follow
absolutely.
us on Instagram, shoot us a DM, comment on our posts, reply to our daily journal prompts. I can't say prompts. Reply to our daily journal prompts, all of that stuff. So I definitely highly recommend following us at the Daydreamers Club podcast on
Yes.
Instagram. And also, obviously, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple.
Yes, we love you guys so much. Thanks for coming along today. Mwah.
Love you. Mwah.